Hi, 7th graders. Today we're going to get ourselves set up so that we're ready to deal with all the interesting looking insects that you brought in from your summer collections. So you should have in front of you this white sheet that says how are insects classified, and we'll be filling this in while we are also listening to some video clips. There will be some times where you're asked to share your idea or your answers with your table partner as well. So to start out with, we're going to be looking at a kingdom, a phylum, a class, and an order today. So we're going to start up here with kingdoms. We know how many kingdoms there are, so look at your partner and tell them how many kingdoms they are and which kingdom the insects are in. Ready, set, go. End your conversation, please. And let's take a look at what we want to put on our white sheet. You and your partner came up with that there are 6 insects, or 6 kingdoms, sorry. So you were going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kingdoms. And the kingdom you decided that the insects are part of is animal. So we'll put animal in this box because we are now dealing with the animal kingdom. And when we're dealing with the animal kingdom, we're going to watch a little video clip and we're going to deal with 3 characteristics of animals. And from doing your 6 kingdom visual, you should know what 3 characteristics of animals are, but let's just be reminded by what we're going to see next.
In spite of their great diversity, all members of the kingdom Animalia, from the simplest to the most complex, share the same basic characteristics. First, all animals are multicellular, meaning their bodies are composed of many cells. Second, the cells of all animals have a nucleus and are surrounded by only a thin cell membrane, because they lack the thick cell walls found in other multicellular organisms. A third characteristic is that all animals obtain food by ingestion. This means that in order to survive, animals must eat other organisms, either whole or by the piece. The main reason animals are such complex creatures is that they can be composed of hundreds of types of cells from which many highly organized structures are formed. For example, the specialized cells of animals are almost always found grouped together in organized layers called tissues. And tissues are the materials from which complicated animal organs are constructed. Furthermore, animal organs work together as organ systems to perform complex tasks such as making and circulating blood and digesting food.
All right, now let's go back and look at the 3 characteristics. You were reminded that creatures in the animal kingdom are multicellular creatures. So let's write over here, multicellular. This video also reminded us that if we look at the cells of animals, we would see a nucleus. And the word that we used for creatures that have cells with a nucleus in them was eukaryote. So let's write eukaryote. And finally, we were reminded that animals all have the same kind of eating patterns, that they are heterotrophs. They can't make their own food in their body, but they eat other things. So those are our 3 main characteristics of animals. Now we're going to take just the animal kingdom and we're going to start to see what kind of phylum we can break it into. And we're noticing here that we can take animals that are vertebrates, animals that are invertebrates, and put those into our different phyla. So animals that are vertebrates we're going to remind ourselves, those are animals that have a backbone. So let's just simply write have backbone here. And animals that have a backbone are all in the same phylum, and that phylum is Chordata. So write Chordata. And then all the other animals in the animal kingdom are invertebrates. So we can say they have no backbone. And there are many phyla with no backbone. So what I want you to listen for is there's 1, 2, 3, and there's many. So listen for the number of phyla that are invertebrates. Listen for what percentage of animals are actually invertebrates in this next little video clip.
With well over 1 million species of animals in the world, biologists have found it helpful to classify them into smaller groups according to which traits they share. These traits can include such things as body shape, the number of tissue layers they possess, the presence or absence of certain organs, and so forth. One of the most basic ways of classifying animals is into vertebrates, animals which have backbones, and invertebrates, animals which do not have backbones. Beyond those two very broad classifications, animals are classified into a particular large classification group, or phylum, depending on their traits. All the vertebrates are classified into just one phylum. However, there are about 29 phyla of invertebrates. This reflects the greater diversity of this group and the fact that invertebrates make up 95% of all the animals on Earth. After an animal has been classified into a certain phylum, other traits will determine into which particular class within the phylum it belongs. Then, into which order within that class, which family within the order, which genus within the family, and finally, which species within the genus. Classification has proven to be a valuable tool because it provides a common framework that is used by biologists around the world. For without this framework, accurate communication would be impossible. Additionally, through classification, important biological patterns have been revealed that have led to a much better understanding of how animals evolved and how they are related to one another.
Okay, you just heard the percentages here. What percentage of the creatures in the animal kingdom actually have no backbone and are invertebrates? So let's put our 95% right here and our 5% that only have a backbone, which would include us. You also heard that there are 29, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way up to 29 different groups of invertebrates. The group of invertebrates that the insects belong to is called the phylum Arthropod. So in here, let's write down phylum Arthropods. So right now we have the insects are in the animal kingdom, they're in the arthropod phylum. And we're going to listen to a clip in which we can hear two characteristics of all arthropods. So you are going to be listening for two characteristics of all arthropods to put on your sheet right there.
The next phylum, the arthropods, or joint-legged animals, is the largest animal phylum. In fact, there are more species of arthropods than are found in all the other phyla combined. Some of the most familiar arthropods are spiders, bees, ants, and butterflies. All arthropods share the same characteristics. They all have paired jointed appendages, such as legs, antennae, and mouth parts. The bodies of all arthropods possess a hard outer covering called an exoskeleton that provides protection for their internal organs and gives the ends of their muscles a place to attach. The muscles of arthropods are highly efficient, and they have extremely well-developed sense organs. They have both simple and compound eyes for obtaining visual information, and antennae to give them information about touch sensations, odors, tastes, and even sounds. One reason that arthropods have been such a successful group of animals is that they have efficient methods for reproduction, in which fertilization occurs inside the body of the female.
Okay, and if you look with your partner and see if they got the same two characteristics of arthropods from that video that you did, they flash that sort of in blue boxes. So what you should have written on your sheet now is that all arthropods have paired jointed appendages. So that means they have legs that have sections to them, antenna, and mouth parts, and they're in pairs. And they also have a hard outer covering called an exoskeleton. This is not a backbone, but it is just sort of a hard outer covering. So no bones, but it is called the exoskeleton. So finally, what we're going to do now is go down to classes. And the insects belong to, actually, the class Insecta, or insects. So now we're seeing they're in the animal kingdom, the arthropod phylum, and in the insect class. So at this point, we're going to watch a little bit longer video clip. And the little bit longer video clip that we're going to watch is going to give us characteristics of insects. Well, we know that the insect's body is put into three parts. So let's put those three parts down right here. And you're going to be, in this particular part of the video, writing down what you hear about the insect's head. What kind of features are on an insect's head, and you will add those items right here. You're also going to hear about the middle section, the thorax, and you're going to write down some features that are on the thorax of an insect. And then finally, the ending part of an insect's body is the abdomen. And you will listen for what characteristics are on the abdomen, and you will write them here. Here we go.
Insects have a lot in common with other arthropods, but they also have many differences. Let's examine an insect in much closer detail to see how they differ from most other arthropods. Insects are among the few arthropods which have three body parts: the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. It's easy to spot the three body parts on some insects, like this wasp. Here's its head, its thorax, and its abdomen. But what about this giant water bug? Can you spot its three parts? Here's the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. And what about this walking stick? Here's the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. Spiders, by the way, only have two body parts: the head and thorax, which are combined into one part, and the abdomen. Insects are the only adult arthropods with 6 legs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can you count the legs on this darkling beetle? And what about this ant? Or this backswimmer? They all have 6 legs. A spider has 8 legs. It is not an insect. The same with scorpions. 8 legs. It's not an insect. Centipedes aren't insects. They have more than a dozen legs. Millipedes aren't insects. They can have more than 100 legs. Let's take a closer look at each of the insect's body parts. The head of an insect contains many of the insect's most important organs, and these include the insect's antennae, its eyes, and its mouth parts. One of the first things you notice when you look at an insect's head is its antennae. Every insect has a pair, and they are used for sensing the world around them. That's why you often see an insect waving its antennae about as it explores its world. Antennae are used mostly for touching and smelling, and this helps insects identify their own kind and whether or not they're male or female. Insects also communicate with their antennae. When two ants meet each other, you often see them touching antennae. They are actually passing chemical messages from one ant to another. Antennae come in a variety of shapes and sizes. Some are short and fan-like. Others are short and beaded. Some look like whips, while others are long and thin. And still others look like feathers. Each style of antenna are better at some things more than others. Insects also sense their world through their eyes. Here, a praying mantis grooms itself under a full moon. The mantis, like many insects, has a large pair of compound eyes. These are the most important for vision. And several simple eyes, which are probably sensitive to only light and dark. The mantis's 3 simple eyes are located here in the middle of its forehead. Compound eyes are made up of tiny sections called facets. Each facet is a lens, and the more facets, the better the insect's vision. That's why dragonflies, which have a lot of facets in their eyes, have such good vision. And so do damselflies, which is probably why they respond so quickly to the slightest movement. Beetles have poor vision. That's because their eyes are tiny and have few facets. Insects eat in a lot of different ways. Some, like this grasshopper, are chewers. They chew the food they eat. The mouth parts of many chewers, like this stick insect, include palps, or feelers, which are extremely sensitive and which give the insect information about the food it is eating, including taste and smell. Palps are also used like fingers to help manipulate food. After which the insect spreads apart its palps so that it can chew the food with its jaws. Sticks are big eaters, and just a few of them can destroy a rose garden in a very short time. Predators, like praying mantises, are chewers as well. This one is devouring a cricket it has just caught. Mantises have powerful jaws, and they can easily bite through the hard skeletons of most insects. Can you spot the palps on this mantis? They're quite small compared to those on other insects. Many insects don't chew at all. The butterfly has a long sucking tube, which it uncoils to stick deep into flowers to obtain their sweet nectar. The tube is longer than its legs, Bees eat mostly by lapping up nectar from flowers, but it's not easy to see. In this view, you can clearly see the mouth part that is used to lap up food, in this case, some honey. The next insect body part is the thorax. This is where you find the insect's legs and wings. Insect legs are varied according to how they're used. Some are used mostly for climbing and clinging. Some for running. Some for swimming. And some for grasping. These threatening legs belong to the praying mantis, one of the great predators of the insect world. We've already seen how it uses its powerful jaws to devour insects. But before it can devour them, it has to catch them, which it does with lightning speed. The strike is so fast, it's easy to miss. So we've slowed one down in order to see it more clearly. A cricket passes in front of the mantis, jumps, and is caught in midair. There's a brief struggle, but once in the mantis's powerful legs, impaled on its spines, there is no escape for the cricket. Insect legs are used in many ways. Bees use their hind legs for gathering pollen. Crickets can hear with their legs, and butterflies can taste with theirs. Ants use their legs to carry and drag things. This ant is attempting to drag a dead fly, many times larger than itself, back to its colony. It's quite a struggle, as the fly keeps getting caught up in grass and twigs. But ants are persistent, and this one will eventually succeed, dragging the fly dozens of feet. One of the most remarkable abilities of insects is their ability to fly. Most insects have wings, and of those who do, most have 2 pairs of wings. Can you spot the 2 pairs of wings on this butterfly? What about this beetle? You say it doesn't have 2 pair? Here they are. The first pair serves as a protective case and covers the second pair, which is used for flying. Most beetles have 2 pairs of wings. Insects don't develop wings until they become adults. Wings are just beginning to emerge on this young mantis. But in just a few weeks, they will be fully formed, and the mantis will become an even more effective predator. Some insects use their wings for things in addition to flying. The katydid makes its distinctive sound by rubbing its wings together. Honeybees cool their hives and pass odors by fanning their wings. An insect's third body part is its abdomen. It is here that you find a number of important glands and organs, including its reproductive organs. When you come upon insects, you will sometimes find them connected at the abdomen. This is how most insects mate. In addition to their sex organs, some insects also have a pair of cerci extending from their abdomens. These are sensing organs. Other insects have stings, and some, like this earwig, have pincers, which are used for defense. Some insects can expand their abdomens, enabling them to squeeze into tight places. The anal opening of an insect is found at the end of its abdomen, a very important organ, as this is how insects get rid of their waste.
Okay, you should be able to check in with your table partner, see what things that they figured out were on an insect's head, an insect's thorax, and an insect's abdomen. So just take a minute just to kind of compare and discuss what things were on what section. Go ahead. Okay, 7th graders, end your conversation, please, and take a look at your white sheet, and then we'll be able to get started on your Big 8 insect worksheet, which is your homework. So look at the screen again, and let's see what we've got. Our question was, how are insects classified? Well, we now know that they are in the kingdom Animal. We know they are part of the phylum Arthropods, and we know that they are in the class Insects. What you're going to be working on is, what are all the different orders of insects that there could possibly be? So these are some of the names. So your homework is going to be to do a Big 8 worksheet where you learn 8 of these orders, and you learn a little bit about what insects are in each of these orders, so that when we start to deal with your insects, you'll kind of have an idea of the orders that we're talking about. This white sheet should be saved in your science folder so that you can pull it out for class again. Listen for your directions on the Big 8 insect worksheet.